if you can see me well and hear me well. I have a live chat. Seems like we have some people already. Let me just run this stream simultaneously in my computer so I could read your comments and respond. Just 1 second. Here you go. I can see myself. Let me just adjust a bit. Hello, everyone. Let me welcome. We have James, Chief Jim, Patrice, Lindsay, Carrie Preps, Lorna, Mammy, Jason. Friends, hello. It's really good to be here. Let me give you a quick update on what has happened over the past 10 days. Pretty sad stuff. I did my last live stream on May 22nd. It was from Gorky Park. And I loved doing that stream. That was fantastic. I got really good response from you. Everything went fine technically. You could hear me, you could see me well. And I planned to keep on doing live streams every single week, every Saturday around 5 p.m. Moscow time and 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States. But an unexpected thing happened. In Russia, they say, when you want to make God laugh, tell them about your plans. So my plans were to go and do a live stream on Saturday from many iconic places, sites in Moscow, such as VDNH, the main exhibition, states Russia's main exhibition center. Another one from Gorky Park, because I didn't cover everything there on May 22nd. From the Red Square and the Kremlin, from GUM State Department Store, and places like that. But 10 days ago, my dad suddenly passed away. He had, he was healthy, basically, so we thought, but he died instantly on my mom's hands while I was on the phone. He had aortic aneurysm or aneurysma. That's pretty rare heart disease that we didn't know that he had, and that's pretty tragic. Basically, I didn't really think of anything but my dad passing away, and I didn't think of going back to work, doing more YouTube, nothing. I came to Rostov, we did the funeral, I buried my dad with my own hands, and basically I've been grieving ever since. But a couple days ago, I made a decision to move on because that's what my dad would want me to do. Now I am the patriarch, the head of the family. I take care of not only my family now, but my mom as well, my uncle, basically everything, all responsibilities of my dad, they're mine responsibilities now. So I gotta move on, and I gotta move on with YouTube as well. And that really helps me because it keeps my mind off this whole sorrow. So anyway, this is I'd like to share my plans for this coming summer with you. I was going to do a lot of live streams and to do a lot of videos from Moscow, but I gotta come to Rostov every weekend, or at least every other weekend, to support my mom. And this is where I am going to be primarily streaming from. I am right now in Rostov-on-Don. Basically, it's going to be a commute. Friday night, I'd fly in here, and then Monday morning, I'd fly back to Moscow. Well, Rostov is a interesting city in the summertime, and I will find a few good locations for you to stream from. And I will also stream on every Saturday, either from my home from Moscow, if I'm not wandering around, or from my home in Rostov. Well, it's my mom's and dad's home, not mine, but I stay here not instead of my home to support, just to be around my mom. That's my plans. If you would like to ask me today, I would like to answer the questions that you ask me, and I would like, if you are interested in learning a little more about Russia, I can tell you about such a set topic as funerals. What do we do? What we do when people pass away here. So, let me know whether it be something of interest to you or not. You know, let's do it. If you want to ask a question, please type in caps so it's easier for me to see in the chat. And thanks for being here. I would like to thank you all because I see a lot of my, fan subscribers here. A lot of you wished, gave me your condolences, yeah, and sent me prayers. They said, you would pray for my dad and mom and myself, and believe me, that helps. That helps a lot. It's like having a void, an empty space in your soul, and all of a sudden, these little things coming from you. They kind of help to fill this void with good feelings. So thank you so much. Let me read a few. Yes, please make this chat clean. This is something I heard from other people's chats when they start. They say, no, let's keep it clean and so forth. I didn't really see anyone fighting in my chats, but just in case. Hang on one second, let me read some of the messages. On your latest announcement, it shows that the chat's starting at 10 a.m. instead of the correct time of 3 p.m. Oi, I might have made a mistake. For the past, since my dad died, I haven't been really thinking straight. I flew back to Moscow and came back to the office, but my productivity has gone down because everything I do is like through this filter of grieving and sorrow. And the same thing, I could have made a mistake here too. I apologize. By the way, please let me know in the comments how you liked my latest video on haunted house that I filmed in the Preppers Village. You see, I filmed it in early May, like some time ago, and right now I just don't feel like filming a lot. But I have tons of footage that I haven't edited yet, and this is what I plan on doing. I will keep on, editing that what I filmed way back to kind of catch up on the schedule, and I will try to upload quite a few videos. Doesn't mean that I filmed them recently. It means that I edit them and upload. So let me know what you think. I I get a lot of unexpected response from all kinds of people, from my subscribers, even from my wife. She watches some of my videos and she said that she really liked the one about the houses. You see, she was right there when I was filming in this in village, but I kind of wandered away from everyone and I was alone, like a mile, well, a kilometer, not a mile, 3/4 mile from my friends and family. But I was alone there, and she had no clue that there were some abandoned houses there, and I filmed them, and she liked it very much. And let me tell you, if my wife gives me a response, that that means a lot, says a lot. Washington State. Hello from Russia, from southern Russia. I am right now in the city of Rostov-on-Don, right outside of the city. Actually, I'm sitting in the house. I made one of the earliest videos about this house. It's called "Where Do the Usual Russians Live?" Okay, and you can watch the video, and this is exactly where I am right now. This is the house. I bought this as a present to my mom and dad some 10 years ago, and they've been ever living here ever since. And it's a really nice place. I like it a lot. And I decided to stay here every time I come to Rostov, like right now, just to be around my mom. Basically, perhaps this few upcoming months, and then we'll try to figure this out. Washington State, please let me know what's going on in your state, because we here in Russia, we hearing this crazy things about Seattle and how things are getting worse there, how like so many homeless people, so many drug addicts, so much crime, and is this Seattle, Washington, Portland? I might be mistaken. Anyway, either Seattle or Portland. Oi, all confused. Anyway, Washington, that's northwest, right next to Canadian borders. Anyway, please let me know how things are in your state. I will send some rain. Lorna, guys, in Russia we're having a very, very strange year weather-wise. It's been raining everywhere, like almost every day. We rarely get sunshine these days. Even one day of sunshine is greatly appreciated. Like in Rostov-on-Don, Rostov is south of Russia, and it's hot in the summertime. It's supposed to be 100 degrees here right now. It's June, for God's sake, but it's 59. I'm wearing a hoodie because it's pretty, well, it's not cold, but it's pretty cool. It's 59 degrees. Think about this. Incredible. The harvest, all veggies and fruits are growing pretty well, despite of the, everything's being cold and little sunshine. But everything is late for 2 weeks. Like blooming is late now. Now things are blooming that they were supposed to be blooming a couple of weeks ago. And, at this time we were supposed to get cherries, but they're still 2 weeks ago from being red. Oh, so very strange year. And send us some sunshine. We will send you some rain. Patrice, congratulations to your stepdaughter on her graduation, Constantine. She graduated high school. But this is a very strange system in Russia. Now she's taking her graduation exams. You see, to get her high school diploma, she must make two-step process. First is she finished school, done with all her classes. She got GPA. It's pretty high. It's 3.96 out of 4. She only had like 2 4s out of 5s. Everything else is perfect. But now she's taking Russian literature, Russian language, English, and society. 4 exams that she will absolutely need to. It's like GRE in the United States. She will need these exams to enter college. Without taking and passing the exams, she will not be admitted to college. So she's done with Russian language and Russian literature, which are very, very difficult exams. She studied for them for 2 years, and now she's taking society. That's a mix of law, economics, psychology, and something that I personally did not study at school. I studied that at universities, but nowadays they study at high schools here in Russia. And she's taking it next week, and then English. She speaks very fluent English, so English is not a problem. So thank you very much. She's halfway there, well, 3/4 way there. She has done very well on Russian and literature, and now waiting for the society. Lorna, your dad died the same way. You mean aortic aneurysma, right? That's basically a heart has a pipe goes in. Well, I guess few pipes, and this pipe's called aortas, and this is how blood gets into the heart and gets out of the heart, right? And it's like a plumbing pipe. It's really, really thick walls because there's so much pressure inside of heart, and it's a very large diameter, like this. And basically, what my dad died of, just like a plumbing wall, a plumbing pipe, there was a hole. It just this pipe bursted, aorta bursted, and the heart started pumping. Well, kept on pumping blood, but blood was oozing out of the aorta. Some say it's easy way to go. Some say it's not, but my dad didn't suffer. My mom said he just basically dropped dead. They were gonna take him to the hospital. The doctors from the reanimation unit, and he was moving, he was speaking, he was giving directions to my mom. He was asking her to bring him his slippers, and all of a sudden he got up and he just dropped dead right in front of her. Anyway, I will not speak on that issue anymore. Everyone grieves at their own pace. Just do what feels right to you. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm praying a lot. I don't ever cry. I'm a pretty strong guy, but this past few days, anyway. Thank you so much, James. You were one of the first who wrote me an email and gave me your condolences. Anyway, you know what I mean. Such a difficult word to pronounce. All right. Some questions. James, are Russian funeral services religious? They vary. Most are religious. My father was Christianed by Eastern Orthodox priest. So he was Eastern Orthodox. But then he went to, when he was little, he was Christianed. And that's a long story. I'm trying to make it short for you guys. So you see, he was christianed at an Eastern Orthodox church as a boy, but he was living his life as an atheist. He didn't believe in God until he was 49 years old. And then a miracle happened to him in Czech Republic. He was dying out of pancreatitis. Pancreas was just failing, and then a miracle happened. He was healed instantly, and he had some vision. So he became very religious that very same moment. He opened his heart for Jesus Christ, and he had messages. One of the messages was to go and build a church, and he did in Prague, in Czech Republic. My mom and dad, they were just passing by. They were just staying there for a couple months. But the message was stay and build the church and work there. And my dad did. He went out and he found a local community, a Baptist community that needed a church to be built. And he's, well, he was also a builder. So he was like the chief, he assembled the crew, construction crew, and he built a church with his own hands. And he stayed, my mom and him stayed at the church. They were caretakers, and he was preaching there for, I don't know, 8 years perhaps. Then he moved back to Rostov, to Russia. So he was at the Baptist church, but he was christened as Eastern Orthodox. And he wanted to be buried as Eastern Orthodox. And this is exactly what we did. Most of Russians are Eastern Orthodox, and when when people die and there's a funeral, then usually the corpses are taken to a church by a cemetery. Like every cemetery has a little church, and they are prayed for. There's a special ritual in Russian, Greek Orthodox Church. It's the same thing. And this is what we did to my dad. So he had 100% religious funeral. But there are some people who don't do that. If they're atheists and their families don't care, they simply contract a funeral company and perform funeral service. So that's a minority. I would say the majority, like 90% perhaps, are religious. And even if a person is atheist, usually many times the families want him to be buried according to religious traditions. That's to answer your question. Another question from Lorna. Would be interested in anything you would like to share? Oh, that's not a question. Thank you very much, Lorna. Does Russia have its own stock market? CBCLI 333. Yes, it does. Moscow Stock Exchange. Local companies trade there, and it's pretty strong, large market, stock exchange. A lot of resource companies who extract oil, gas, minerals, metals, etc. They traded there. Most high-tech companies are traded somewhere else, though. So that's mostly for manufacturing and extracting companies. I would love to hear about the traditions of a Russian funeral. Carrie Preps. In nutshell, well, I've gone recently through that process, so I can tell you very well. When a person passes away, now, these days, I think a few years ago they passed a law that requires every single dead person to be examined by pathologoanatom. Basically they take you to a morgue. They take a person to a morgue and cut you open and then figure out what the reason of the death was. That's a new law. I think before 2015, there was nothing like that. A person dies, just they take him straight to the funeral, to the cemetery, to the church, and then bury him. Now, these days, when a person passes away, doctors, if it happens at the hospital, doctors are called and medical papers are given that the person died of natural causes. Happens at home, doctors usually call cops. Cops show up, they, examine. If they don't find anything suspicious, they clear the paperwork, they give you the paperwork, and they take the deceased person into a morgue. That's pretty standard procedure. And a couple of days later, they receive this paper that the person died of natural causes. And they travel to morgue and take the person in a coffin and take him straight to the cemetery. Then the religious tradition happens. And usually, entire family, Russians have big families, average Russians have big families, and usually everyone comes friends, relatives, co workers. So Russian funerals are large to huge. My dad's funeral was 100 people showed up at the funeral. That was just immediate family and close friends. Then a few dozen people traveled from work because he worked until the day he died, and then he was very well respected and loved at work. So a few dozen people showed up from work at the morgue when we were taking him from the morgue, loading into the special bus, and taken to the funeral, and they said their goodbyes. And then 9 days later, which was yesterday, there is a tradition that at home of a deceased person, there's a huge table is organized by the family, food, food and drinks, and everyone who loved the person comes and you know comes with basically with good memories, eat, drink, and talk about the deceased person. That's what happened yesterday. There were a few dozen people. So Russian weddings. Man, I'm not thinking straight. I'm sorry. It's like it's like a fog over my mind. Sometimes it's thicker and sometimes it's thinner. But I still don't think straight. Anyway, Russian funerals are large and quick. To, Usually happens like from death to burying, 2 to 3 days by most. Так. Have you taken any time for yourself? Not really. I can't really afford taking any time for myself now because I have so many people relying on me. First of all, my mom, who's taking my dad's death much more difficult, and uh, I gotta spend all my time that I have for myself and for my work and some other things. I need to channel that time to my mom, at least for a couple months until she starts feeling a little better. I love the haunted house. One of my favorite videos, believe it or not, but it was not my agenda to make the video on the haunted house. I just stumbled upon it, upon them, three abandoned houses, and I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. And I started filming. I didn't even have a microphone for my phone, so the sound was not so good. And I did the filming really quick, within like 20 minutes. And when I traveled back home and I loaded everything on the computer and I started looking at the footage, I said, "Wow, you know what? This is really cool. I like it." So one of my most favorite videos to make so far. Those houses were really creepy. They were not scary. I was not scared when I was there, but it was strange. Especially when I got inside of that old abandoned house. I didn't feel, well, let's put it this way. I wanted to get out of there as soon as I could. It was not scary, but the feeling of uneasiness. Since I learned that the houses are not so peaceful, I want to go back. I'm thinking of it. I will go back to the preppers village because I saw my uncle at the funeral, and then he opened his house to us. He said anytime, like his house has always been open, but he was very helpful, and he's very close to my mom. That's her first cousin. They grew up together, and we made plans on going, taking my mom there to visit him for a couple days, so it would take her mind off. Once I'm there, I will certainly revisit the houses and I will look at them from a different point of view. But please stay tuned for the update. Hello from Philadelphia. Hello from Russia, Philadelphia. The Prepper Village. Give me some ideas. What else would you like? Because I'm going back to the Preppers Village. What else would you like me to film there? Because I've kind of run out of ideas for that village, particular village. If you suggest, I will shoot it. Love your parents' house. Thank you so much. This house has been filled with love, but now it's lacking its my dad, how should I call it, the head of the family, the patriarch. Every time I come to this house, it's empty. You know, my dad's car is in the driveway, and Michael came to me while we were just here a week ago, and then he came to me and said, "Listen, Daddy, this is very strange. Grandpa's car is here, but he's not. And what? Where is he? What's going on? And how would I explain him that his grandpa just passed away?" Patrice, there is a lot of homeless in every state as well as a lot of crime. Oi, I remember the United States very different. It's such a shame. People stopped wearing masks. Would you like to hear about COVID update? I travel, well, the past few days in the May holidays, I traveled extensively between Moscow and Rostov, and let me tell you, we don't really recall of COVID anymore. COVID? What COVID? People still do get sick. There's no question about that, but it's not a catastrophe as we felt it would be a year ago when we were all in self-isolation. For example, our lawyer at our company, the lawyer just got sick a couple days ago, and she's down with COVID. But she's gonna stay home for 14 days. She's just feeling, well, she's sick, but it's not life-threatening. Her fever goes up and down. She's taking some medicine, and she's sick, but she's fine. So many people around me that were sick, have been sick with COVID-19, including myself, my family twice, and my uncle, like I told you before, he had his arm amputated up to his shoulder. But you know what? It was a blessing is in disguise, because COVID showed the real problems with blood clot that he had for years. Okay, if not for COVID, he'd be dead just like my dad from a blood clot, or like he would drop dead. You know what I mean? So he completely recovered. He's same my uncle, only without one hand. He jokes, he runs around, he does things around his house, and he's alive. My dad never had COVID, and he's not with us any longer. So masks, we do not wear masks anymore. It's a show, really, because at large department stores and at fast food restaurants, they still require people to wear masks. But we come at the checkout, and then they say, "Well, please put on your mask." And if we don't have, which I never have mask on me, they give me this little piece of cloth. I wrapped it around my face like this, and the transaction is done, and then I immediately take the mask, so-called mask, off, and that's it. And today, a couple hours ago, I was at the large department store, a French store called Auchan, and the same thing happened. I was asked to put on the mask. They gave me this quasi mask for free. And I said, "Well, do you realize that these masks don't do anything?" She said, "Well, they do. They do. They protect us from the fines." That's basically it. The masks in Russia protect businesses from the fines that the government, if someone is served without a mask, then the store is fined. And then every single transaction is video surveilled. So, surveyed. COVID is at bay. Everything's fine. Medical system works. We have plenty of drugs. People do get vaccines. That's a different topic. Certainly not for for this discussion. I just don't understand how so many people can be so crazy. But yes, a lot of Russians willingly get jabbed. Anyway, so this is all there is to COVID in Russia. It's not here anymore. I mean, it's here, but same as flu, regular flu, seasonal flu. So COVID is basically another seasonal flu, and I think it's gonna stay here for a long time, but we'll just get used to it. More questions? Mask mandates are all going away, and everyone is going back to work in the East Coast. And about time you guys get back to normal. And imagine this. Well, notice this. Once you stop wearing the masks, nothing sinister happens. You know, you will not all of a sudden drop dead because you don't wear the mask anymore. So then my next question, if I was you, would be to the politicians. Hey, why were we forced to wear them in the first place? James, is college free? Oi, that's a pain because we gotta shell out money for college. Yes and no. I think just like the United States, exceptionally smart kids can get into college for free. They must they must excel in academics in high school, and every college has so many admittances every year, and very few of them are free. Well, not are free; they're paid by the budget by the government. Okay, and then most of them are we call them commercial, meaning the college student is admitted, but he or she must cover their own expense. So my daughter is applying to a college that doesn't have any free slots. So basically, we'll have to pay for them, but not much, about $4,000 per year. So it's doable, and it's not that much of a great deal. But for regular Russians, that's still a lot of money. Hello, South Colorado. Stay there. It's really good to see you here. Daughter sounds like a very disciplined. Well, I just wish she washed more dishes after herself. Widowmaker. It made my mom widow, that's for sure. No. South Colorado State Air. That's a good question. Did you get dead? Did your dad get a wax? Lots of heart problems reported. My dad and mom have been, well, my dad was, and mom has been believers in the evilness of the vaccine. They would never get jabbed on their own. Forcefully, perhaps there's a possibility, but not on their own. And you see what happened. No coronavirus in 18 months. None of them had any problems. My dad, mind you, my dad walked out of the door every day. He would go to shopping malls. Well, basically both of them. And my dad worked at a large port with hundreds of people around, and not a single problem with coronavirus. At first, like 1 year ago, I really worried about him working, and I was thinking, I was proposing him to take a break from work, like a sabbatical, to go on vacation for a couple months. He just laughed at me. So no, he did not get a wax. Let me read more comments. Lorna, thank you for helping me out with the stream. Pathology, yeah. South Colorado State, another question. How will Russia pulling out of the dollar affect most of the businesses? It's not really, political mumbo jumbo. In the last few days, I haven't followed Russian news much, but I just know that they're cutting their portion of debt of other countries, dollar part, to zero, meaning we will have debts in rubles, in Chinese yuans, in euros. Doesn't affect us in any way, at least so far. I doubt it will. Russians are just making a precaution. Well, Russian government is they're hedging the risk, because if the United States puts more sanctions on Russia, including Russian debt or Russia's ability to hold debt, that could be in trouble if they accumulate so many dollars, or debt obligations in dollars. Basically, that's so nothing catastrophic is happening. Carol, I think that Russia and China will partner up. In my opinion, they will become world's dominant leaders, two large industrial countries. It's a very, very right and very good opinion. I somewhat agree with it. What I don't understand is why the United States has been pushing Russia into Chinese hands. Okay, and then that has been happening in the past 6-7 years. Russia will swallow, China will swallow Russia. Okay, there will be no partnership with the Chinese. There cannot be a partnership with the Chinese, because Chinese are there to dominate, to swallow you up, to make you one of the vassals, to use your resources, okay, and to make you one of their own. Okay, that's what Chinese are. I know Chinese. I worked with them. I tried working with them. Scary people, let me tell you. It's the United States needs to pull Russia to its side, to create a union, because Russia and the United States are able to create a partnership and a union. But instead, the United States is pushing Russia towards the Chinese, and Chinese will gladly swallow Russia, and they will use Russia's resources to their own advantage. And with Russia's resources, they will be unstoppable. They will be power number one in the world. Beats me why America is not controlling this process, and we're not using advantage of having Russia as its own friend. Hello from Ohio. Looptilu 62. Ohio, hello from Moscow. Well, not from Moscow. I'm not in Moscow. I was in Moscow this morning, but now I'm in Rostov. Hello from southern Russia. Friends, please forgive me. I'm still not thinking straight. Glad you're there for your mom. I know that's helping her. That's helping. Yes, me being here helping her a great deal. We have a huge family. Like I told you, 100 people showed up, and everyone was very sympathetic. Everyone helped a lot. They were offering money, offering to take care of all this red tape, formalities, and then filling paperwork. Basically, I didn't even do much myself. It was taken care of by my first and second cousins. And my mom had 5 siblings, and her youngest sister with a family when they heard about my dad passing away, they were very close too. They immediately jumped into my car. We drove from Moscow to Rostov, and they moved into my mom's house, and they're gonna be staying with her for a few months. So that helps a lot. And of course, every chance I have, I will be traveling here to spend time with her, and bringing along Michael and Natasha with me, my wife. And I'm thinking of sending them to Rostov for a couple months just to stay here. Moscow is incredibly cold this year. We're not having summer. We're not even have just forget about summer. Give us spring. We want like a warm spring, which we're not having. Okay, but Rostov will get hot. I hope this year, and then at least I will take my family and put into a hot climate in the summer for a little change. James, I do not have a sibling in Rostov-on-Don. I'm the only child, but I have many first and second cousins, which I'm very close to. They're basically my siblings. I have like a couple dozen siblings. Uh oh. Tourist areas, local flea markets, modern stores, any Soviet or Federal. I was thinking about taking you to flea market, making a video, or making a live stream. But flea markets happen early in the day, morning and the days from 6 a.m. to perhaps 10 a.m. And it's very inconvenient time for America to be watching my live stream. And most of my viewers from America, and please forgive me, viewers from other countries in the world, it's just I orient towards the Americans because they're like 75% of my audience. And it just makes sense. And the second thing, I don't think I can film at flea markets. People would beat me up because they're very sensitive to someone coming in with a camera and filming them, and it's not easy. I might, I might try, but I predict that it's gonna be tough and probably won't be able to do that. There is a really cool flea market here in Rostov. They get lots of antiques, lots of very rare memorabilia, rare things, China from like the 18th century, incredible things. But let's check it out. Okay, tourist areas for sure. Rostov is on my list. I have a list of sites, not too many, but some. And believe it or not, I still have some videos from last year unedited. So I will use and reuse those too. Modern stores. I believe I have a couple videos about shopping centers in Rostov-on-Don. Rostov shopping centers, all shopping centers in Russia, modern shopping centers, they look absolutely same, just like American shopping malls. I did a video back in July of 2020 how things were getting back to normal, people coming out of self isolation. That's the last I did on a shopping mall in Rostov, but yeah, let's check it out. I'll see if I can do some more. Patrice, did you have the same symptoms both times you were sick? Check out my videos. I made quite a few videos on updates of my first and second COVID. First COVID was easy. Symptoms were different. First, there was almost no fever, just a little bit. There were just a little shortness of breath and I was coughing a lot. Okay, and I was feeling generally kind of not well. The second one was like a train hitting me, boom, just like that. One morning, one evening actually, the throat started hurting like son of a gun. The fever went up, then down. I was absolutely soaked in sweat. I woke up in the middle of the night, and then I got pneumonia, and I had doctors visiting me all the time. Anyway, the last time was much more difficult. But still, you see, I had COVID and I was like a serious case, but I had been sick much worse from common cold and like regular seasonal flu in the past before COVID. COVID-19 was not the worst thing I had. Okay, it was pretty bad, but I got sick and I got over it. Reading some comments. Only medical facilities require masks in my part of Texas. Well, what can I say, Lorna? Texas rules. I love Texas. My wife is thinking, well, was not thinking, but she was asking me if we could move to Texas because it's the last pillar of freedom remaining, I guess, in the world. They are bringing us to get the jab. Any of the going on in Russia? Oi, my friends, getting vaccinated is still voluntarily in Russia, but I see clouds thickening above our heads. Russian government, that's my opinion only, please, I must say that because I could get in trouble, but I think that, in my opinion, that Russian government is using a stepping stone strategy. At first they were saying, hey, if you want to get vaccine, you must stand in line because it's so popular and it prevents from. Then they said, oh, only a few certain categories of people, like cops and medical doctors and bureaucrats, they must get vaccinated because they work with people all the time. Then they said, okay, now we're extending the list of these people who must get vaccinated, including firefighters, school teachers, and so forth. Now they start thinking about, well, we need to expand over, like everyone is 65 plus year old must get a vaccine because they're high risk category of people. Then they're playing with the idea, well, perhaps everyone should get vaccinated. Perhaps the entire Russia must be like COVID-19 free, and we can only do that by vaccinating everyone. Things like that. So it's like they're stepping stones, and I believe the main goal is, mandatory vaccination. Well, we'll see soon. South Colorado State here. Did you say 4,000 a year for college tuition? Community college is 5,000 a semester here. Well, yes, I said around 4,000 people. $4,000 again. I'm doing it again. $4,000 per year. But don't forget that first of all, that's not the most expensive college. There are colleges 7, 10,000 a year, and please think of how much an average Russian makes. An average Russian salary, decent salary, is $400 per month. Not in Moscow, in any provincial town or city. $400 per month. Think how difficult for a regular Russian to save money for school for a kid. It's incredibly tough to come up with 4 grand. The dollar will probably collapse soon. I don't know. I'm not. Well, I am qualified. I'm an economist by my education, but I need to learn more on the topic. I know that American debt is growing like crazy, $29 trillion, and that certainly is not good. And I think that will bring really big trouble in one way or another in the future. It's unavoidable. But I think it still can be fixed if the entire country starts doing the right thing, starts cutting expenses, and to trying to reduce the debt. But I don't see that happening anytime soon because the Democrats, they're just They seem to be living like there is no tomorrow. And this is a very dangerous way to live. I think that Russia is the variable in a China Russia US triangle. China needs Russian energy, Russia needs China tech. Russia is trying to appease both, and I, I tell you what, it's a big mess. I think Russian elites, the government, and the ones on top who actually rule Russia, they have their own personal agendas, and they acting accordingly. And those are agendas I can only guess. And we can talk everything about the countries and the country policies, but the agendas of some people, that's what really make the difference. Firely Farm. Hi from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Hi there, friend. Welcome to Southern Russia. I heard South Carolina was absolutely beautiful. I never been there, as it was on my bucket list to drive all the way from Maine to Florida to Key West. Well, I traveled all around Florida, and I traveled as far as New Jersey, but I didn't really travel to the Carolinas, and I heard places absolutely beautiful. And the Myrtle Beach is a big seaside community with tons of hotels and people and coming there to vacate. I worked in a place like that only in Maine, in Old Orchard Beach, so I know where you're coming from. So many comments. Thank you. I'm trying to catch up. Hang on there. James, can you buy precious metals? That's a good question. I think we cannot because Russian government, they don't need us to be independent. They don't need us to have any other alternative to Russian ruble. We can buy gold and silver, but the way it works here, you go to a bank that's one huge state bank that only can buy sell precious metals and I'm talking about the investment metals, not like jewelry. Jewelry you can buy gold, silver, platinum, anything. But I'm talking about like pure gold. So you go to that bank and they give you a paper, a certificate that you just bought like 5 ounces of gold. And this is how it works. But no real gold is given to you. To me, that's I'd be crazy to do that. Because the reason that the first thing that start like the economy will crash or things will go sour, the first thing they would say, hey, we are freezing, honoring our obligations for gold until later date. They've done that before with different things in Russia. I don't trust Russian banks. I don't trust Russian governments. I think only a crazy person would do something like that. What? And I think it's don't quote me on that, but I think it's illegal to buy investment metals from, like and keep them. I have some thick hair. Chimp Marley. Oh yeah, they do. I do. I do. That's one of the things. My dad had hair like this. His dad, my grandfather, had hair like this. Something I was born with. You know, I've never appreciated my hair. It's really strange. Pinball is in South Carolina on business this weekend. Looks like I got into the very very last comment. Sorry to hear that you went to New Jersey. Glad you escaped. Uh, a lot of business owners in Old Orchard Beach, they simultaneously have businesses in, I think it's Ocean City, New Jersey. Uh, think it's Ocean City. It's like same kind of a seasonal beach party community place. I knew quite a few people who traveled between Maine and New Jersey. Anyway, guys, I would like to tell you this. I was trying to, keep my mind off this grieving and sorrow and sadness, and I watched another Pinball's video. Well, I usually watch his videos every day. The guy's great. I mean, just insane. He's like a news outlet that no fake news there. Just everything is so true and everything is so logical that comes out of his mouth. Okay, so I watch him every day, and one of the videos a few videos really shocked me. Okay, one video about the cops. I made one of my videos was inspired by his video on the cops. That's I was telling you in my video. But I recently watched this video about Canada banning elections, and oh my god, I was absolutely shocked. I called my friend to Canada. Good friend of mine lives in Ontario, in Toronto, and I trust Pinball, but I thought, well, perhaps he misunderstood something. Perhaps he read fake news or something. So I called my friend, and he said, "Oh, you're right, you're right." He said, "Only I'm not in Canada anymore. I fled to Virginia Beach, and I live here now." That's what he said. I'm gonna make my video about this whole Canadian craziness. And I truly believe that Canada is worse than Russia right now. Because in Russia, we at least have elections. Perhaps not free, perhaps not so honest, but we do have elections. Okay, in Canada, they don't have elections now. In Canada, my friends, this is unbelievable. Anyway, I think tomorrow morning I'm gonna just speak up what's on my mind about this topic. Please, I don't know if you can hear that, but fireworks. Fireworks right outside of our house here. Someone's celebrating something. All right, let me read a few more comments. Pinball is 100% accurate in his predictions. I honestly believe that Pinball is in the wrong place. He must be an analytic of some sort for a large, I don't know, media outlet or a large company, or having his own news channel. Look, he kind of does YouTube, but he's he's larger than life. You know what I mean? Everything he says resonates with me. And I'm sitting here in Russia, far away, and then I find everything he says so honest and so true. It's pretty unbelievable. The guy is great. I'm so glad that I stumbled upon his channel. Funny how I met Pinball. I made a video on storming the Senate, and I made a pretty emotional video as I was watching the news about storming Senate. And I was kind of giving fake news from both American and Russian media. Not fake, but there was not enough information at first. And then a couple days later, I kind of processed information, and I changed my opinion about people who stormed the Capitol. I made another video. Okay, I made a video how it's compared to Russia, and Pinball commented on that video. So I went to see Pinball preparedness. Kind of, I thought Pinball is a machine. Preparedness, very strange. So I came to see his channel. I clicked on the first video and I was hooked. I didn't watch all his videos because there's so many of them, but I watched every single day ever since. And amazing guy, amazing. This is how I met him. And then he mentioned that he had Russian wife, so I sent him emails. Pinball, would you like, I'd like to talk more on some of the issues that you are, talking about. And he said, hey, let's do the video. And I'm glad we did because, well, it's been great. A lot of you actually found me through Pinball. It's his Russian advisor. He lives with that helps. Lol. I'm laughing out loud. Absolutely. Yes, it's his Russian chief Russian advisor. North Shore lives in Canada. I know. I watched North Shore Preparedness channel and I watched his few of his live streams. Pretty cool guy. I like his jokes. One of the streams he made was he said you can, there's no censorship here. If you want to swear, you are welcome. If you feel, you need to vent, you can vent here. And everyone started just going F and F and F. It was so funny. Pretty cool guy. EMS paramedic. Hello there. Hello from southern Russia. That's okay. You see, again, I plan on continuing live streaming every single Saturday. If I live stream from a very interesting location, such as Gorky Park that I did a couple of weeks ago, then it would be early in the morning, well, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the United States, because there's a time difference. If it's 10 a.m. at your place, it's 5 p.m. here, and I need at least a couple hours of sunlight to show you everything clearly. And if I stream from my home, like right now, then it will be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right now, I started when it was 10 p.m. here, and it's already, past 11 p.m. That very good question. South Colorado State Air. My friend, you've been giving me good questions today. Has the price of meat gone up in Russia like it's over here? Yes. Everything, all the food products, food items have gone up in price. But I would say on average 15-20%. It's gone up so much that I start feeling the heat, and I make decent money in Russia. Tomorrow is, well, like I said before, my mom's youngest sister moved in with her temporarily for a few months. And tomorrow is that sister's birthday. And I decided to take them from this house, their house, to my house, which is not far away. It's like 15-20 minute drive. I'm gonna take them to my house and make them Boston bot. That's gonna be quite grilling tomorrow. And on the way to my house, I'm going to stop by farmer's market and get some meat. So for you specifically, I will try to make a short video, maybe a couple minutes tomorrow, of Rostov's largest meat market and upload it. So please, tune in tomorrow. And yes, I know that the prices have gone up. Probably even for meat, for pork, even more than 20%, perhaps even 30%, something like that. So I personally start feeling it. Lorna, we would not be here without pinball. He introduced us to you. Yes, yes, like I said, I'm very, very thankful to pinball for that. And I'm thankful for you guys too, because you guys are great. As I said before, I started Letters to King with an intention to give out truthful information to the world. I figured even if I had 100 viewers for my videos, then it would be worth doing the channel. Now I think otherwise. I think 100 people is not much. Okay, but I was giving out. You see, I was giving out and giving out and giving out. But then at some point, I felt that things changed. I started receiving more from the channel than I was giving. And I'm not talking about the money. Listen, the money I spent on doing this channel, I don't know. I've so far invested 500 hours. I bought numerous cameras, equipment, this and that. It's like a very expensive hobby for me. But I start getting back not the money, but feelings, emotions from you guys. Like, when I was sick, you were keeping me in my prayers, and that's priceless. When I was, you know, doing videos like live streams, you watched, you commented, you enjoyed, and you showed me. Then you started giving me true information about the United States, current information from the places where you live, and that means a lot. And my dad passed away. I made a video and I got so many responses with prayers. You were saying that we'll keep you in our prayers, and then you and my mom and your mom and your dad, and guys, this is really deep. So I am currently getting more in return than I am giving, but I'm trying to give much too. Uh, yes, I did tennis shoes in the dryer. I'm not sure what that means. I think I missed this comment. Hello from St. Louis. Oh, that's EMS paramedic. St. Louis. By the way, I try to create parallels to everything in my life, like between two countries, the United States and Russia. I'll give you an example. I try to link cities. For example, New York is very much like Moscow. Moscow is very much like New York. You get to New York, you get certain feeling of the city, and that's the same feeling you get in Moscow. Moscow and New York are both melting pots. They never sleep. Fantastic places, the centers. You know what I mean? The energy is very similar. My hometown, Rostov-on-Don, also has a city in the United States that I compare it to. Back in the 19th century, Rostov-on-Don was called Russian Chicago. That was its nickname because it was a very large industrial and trade center due to its geographical location. It was, on a crossroad of all trade in the southern Russia and to Turkey and to the countries south of Russia. But I don't believe that's true. I don't believe Rostov is Russian Chicago. Rostov-on-Don is nothing but New Orleans. Rostov is a very different city from any other Russian city. It has its own culture. It has its own cuisine, like Cajun in New Orleans. In Russian, it's Cossack. It's Cossack culture, Cossack cuisine. People are different. They act different. The accent is very different. Their values are somewhat different. The way they, make friends and families is different. So I would say that Rostov-on-Don is a lot like New Orleans. That's just my thought. Thought you might be interested. You might find this interested. Still can't think straight. Chief James, are you permitted in Red Square? Not only we are permitted in the Red Square, we are very welcome there. That's the largest Russian tourist attraction, and personally one of my most favorite places in Moscow. Unfortunately, I cannot stream from the Red Square because, see, when quadrocopter craziness started appearing in Moscow, I think 5, 6 years ago, and everyone started coming up with a quadrocopter. They started flying them in the Red Square, up high, and peeking inside of the Kremlin, because Kremlin is behind the Kremlin walls, right? And it's hidden from tourist eyes in Russians' eyes. And then people started flying helicopters over the Kremlin. So basically, what they did, they shut down cell phone communication. There is no cell phone signals on the Red Square. Okay, you cannot get internet traffic just for quadrocopters not to be flown there. And I cannot do live streams from the Red Square, unfortunately. But I can film in my plans, filming a lot because I know that place so well. When I was single for a few years, I would go there every single weekend and photograph. I used to be an amateur photographer. And I have so many different photos of, different angles, different people, different weather conditions, everything about the Red Square. So yes, we are allowed in and permitted in the Red Square. Carol, you ever get a post office box to send you stuff? I think perhaps it was you who suggested during my last stream on May 22nd from the Red Square. Someone did. I'm not sure. Perhaps it was you. So I was I thought about it, but then my this thing happened with my dad, and then I will in the future. I will come up with something. That'd be really neat to receive, something. I promise that I would send everything like to. If I receive something from a person, I would send a gift from Russia back to you. John. Hello, John. I was thinking of you today. I went to a large barbecue store where they sell grills and all stuff necessary for barbecuing. The first thing I came up with was John from Texas. No, I have not relocated permanently to Rostov, although I will be spending some time here to support my mom. Just being around here supports her a lot, gives her peace of mind. I will travel over the weekends quite a bit, and I might I might come up with a schedule where I spend 1 or 2 weeks out of the month working remotely from Rostov. That's possible. Not sure, but that's in the books. GMA Cindy, thank you so much. Please get some rest. I, you know, I have some other things to take care of than resting. My dad used to say, he said, we got to get as much things done as possible. And we will think about the rest when we're laying down in the coffin. And then this is what the principle that I follow too. I will take some rest when, they put me in a coffin. Hopefully not anytime soon. Constantine, can you show us your grilling tips tomorrow? I sold my house, so I have a good electric grill to use on my apartment balcony. I'm making a Boston bot tomorrow, and let me tell you, I came up with this perfect recipe for the Boston bot. See, filming takes a lot of efforts and a lot of time. And if I film something for a video for YouTube for you guys, I usually allocate my time. I schedule my time so I do a couple hours of filming, and it's only me. I try to be alone. If some people are not part of my video, so they don't distract me. sounds and their actions, their movements and things like that. And tomorrow is different agenda. I'm there to kind of comfort my family. And filming simultaneously will be really difficult. I will try, but I'm not sure what the quality, comes out of it, because if the quality of video is not, I mean, not the technical quality, but some kind of like scenario, you know what I mean? If I can't dedicate time to filming, that it's not gonna come out. That's that interesting. But I will try. Maybe I'll make a short video. We'll see. Lorna, you watch another Russian channel. Guys, I also watch a few Russian channels, English speaking Russian bloggers. This amazing guy I just recently discovered, his name is NFARZ, something like that. Not the easiest name for a Russian blogger. He's just a kid, and I watched his earlier videos. It's like a child, you know what I mean? But what he did recently, he kind of stood up against the system, and he's been criticizing Russian government. The guy has guts. I subscribe to his channel. I watched every single video he does, and I recommend you guys go ahead and do that too. He's, he speaks very fast. Some of his views are not like mine, but you know what he does, standing up and speaking up the truth about the protests, is amazing. You guys really is my hero. Then I watch a couple more people. I watch Russian Plus, Slava, amazing guy too. I'm in communication with him. We were gonna make a video together about Rostov-on-Don. He asked me to help him out with like filming in Rostov, and he would incorporate it in his own video. But then he just moved to the United States for a couple months to do some travel blogging and do a large American, like big American adventure. And then I watch this. I'm not sure. I don't remember her name. A lady from Moscow, from like a small town near Moscow. She's pretty funny. Which bloggers do you watch? Old Nance, you give us a different perspective of Russia. I am glad Pinball introduced us. Thank you so much. And this has been my goal ever since, to give you my perspective of living in Russia, because there's so much I see in the Western media about Russia that's simply not true. That's simply crazy and simply just sometimes fake news, propaganda. But at least for me, Russian is different. Russia is very different, and I'm giving you Russia the way I see it with my own eyes. Okay, and this is basically the essence of my channel, Letters to King. South Carolina State here. God bless, and it's nice to go to work. Thank you so much, friend. Thanks for keeping me in your prayers, and I will hug my mom from you. For you, from you. Spark is run. Your videos are wonderful because some people here try to say Russia is our adversary and we can all bypass. Yes, I heard a lot of Russians saying that America is adversary. Not all and not most, but a lot. And I heard a lot of Americans saying that Russia's. Listen, let me give you an example. I have two sons. My oldest, Jake, he lives in Maine. He's 100% American. He doesn't speak Russian. He's the American boy. My youngest son, Michael, lives with me in Russia. He's Russian, 100% Russian. He speaks, well, he understands a little bit of English because I speak English to him sometimes. But there are two brothers, all right? How can they fight each other? How can they be adversaries. I have so many friends in the United States. How can I go ahead and fight them? How can I be in war with them? I have some family there. And I'm not the only case. I'm not the only one. There's so many people like me. Our countries are friends and partners, not enemies, because we are so much alike. And it really breaks my heart to see that politicians, your politicians and our politicians, playing their own cards and like ripping countries apart from each other. It's really sad. Thank you, Sparky's Run. John, most of my life I thought GOOM was where KGB pulled out people's fingernails. Let me tell you, KGB pulls out people's fingernails across the street from GOOM in Lubyanka. This huge, it's not even one building, it's a huge city block, okay, with all different kinds of offices. They even have a street inside of this, inside of KGB block. There's a little tiny street with 7 houses, I think shortest in Moscow. And in one of the houses, this is where this crazy things happen when they pull out nails, not in GOOM. GOOM is for foreigners. GOOM is to show the nice picture of Moscow. The foreigners are taken to GOOM and the government tells them, look how wonderful Russia is. Look how beautiful, how pretty faces, surround you. And this is what GOOM is all about. Thank you guys. Thank you for your very nice and warm words. Patrice, thank you for being with us today. Really means a lot to me. Yes, Valeria. Yes, I watched her videos. Her and her husband, they're pretty funny actually. I know the places where they go to. Large Valeria Kovtunova and Different Russia channel. Interesting, interesting. I sometimes watch her videos too. It's kind of like how other Russians see Russia differently from me. You know what I mean? I wish you could come to Texas for a big Texas barbecue. Well, you know what, Carol? I will one day. I certainly will. Old Nance, good night. Must go, husband. Go. Thank you so much for being here. It was really a pleasure having you here. I'll bring some food. East Texas. That sounds wonderful. Boutique shopping. Yes, but if you have lots of money and you go spend on very expensive brands, then GOOM is not the best place to go. ZOOM, Central Universal Store, something like that. It's right next to GOOM, right next to State Duma and Bolshoi Theater, across the street from Bolshoi Theater is probably the best place. And the Stoleshnikov Переулок, Stoleshnikov side street, right next to Tsum, is where all the brands like Dolce Gabbana, Gucci, and Prada, and Valentino have their outlets, not GOOM. Yes, Valerie and Alex go to Globus a lot. Uh, Globus is actually one of my most favorite large stores to go to, department stores. It's not the same Globus that they go to because there are many stores called Globuses. They are all over Moscow and they are all the same. Okay, My Globus is it's brand new. It's only 1 year old. Everything is shiny. Everything is brand new. It's exceptionally designed. Anyway, Globus is not cheap. It's not far from the cheapest department store. But I like going there because it's a huge selection and it's just everything is sparking brand new, you know. Hi Frank F. Welcome and hello from southern Russia. A lot of Texans here. I guess a lot of preppers among Texans. McAllen. These names don't say anything to me. I know where the Texas is, and I know it's huge, the Lone Star State. But as far as the different parts of Texas, I don't know. I know a lot of Russian immigrants have recently moved to Texas because they find the place fantastic. A lot of people I know from California are thinking of moving to Texas because they cannot stand the California ways. A lot of complain that the real estate prices have gone up through the roof, and there are so many homeless people. Um, so Texas sounds wonderful. John Westbrook, Mega is right next to my house. Well, my apartment. It's like 10-minute ride. Mega is a great shopping mall. It's the first Western shopping mall was opened in Moscow. Mega Teplistan. Pretty cool place. Yeah, spent so much money there, shopping for expensive food and clothes and brands and everything. So I know Mega very very well. EMS paramedic. I watched a couple streams of Sergei Baklakov. I also like the guy. He has his own unique way of presenting information, and he's funny. Like sometimes he's rude, but like in a funny way. There's just one thing I disagree with him is about he's pro-Russian government. I It's not mine, if you know what I mean. I've been places and I've seen things. I can compare things, and what I'm seeing in Russia really worries me more and more day by day. Okay, and I don't like the way it's going. And no, no. So, but it's fun to watch his live streams. He's moved from making videos to live streaming, and he just walks around St. Petersburg, which is always cold. Well, I spent almost a year in St. Petersburg, and I know the city is wonderful in everything except for one thing: the weather. The weather is like the most terrible. And he just walks around St. Petersburg and shows people how the place looks fantastic. And then he goes to like a local bar and he just shows the bar life. That's pretty cool. Guys, by the way, I would like to tell you a thing about. I made a video recently. I was driving back home from like a week ago from my dad's funeral, and I forced myself to film something to take my mind off this whole you know ordeal. And as we were driving along the highway that leads from Rostov to Moscow, I'll remind you it's like 10-11 hour drive, which is not you know Not an easy drive, okay? Not a terrible one, but not an easy one as well. And right somewhere in the middle of that drive, we usually stop for refueling and a lunch. And I found this absolutely incredible hole in the world where they make the best Boston bot ever. The best I've tried. Well, I like the one that I make, okay, but they were even better, okay, in some ways. And I made a very quick video about that. Um, the best Boston bot in Russia. Really a shithole. The place is, I'll show you. It's run by an Armenian family. They have no clue of the marketing. They have old furniture. They have old table covers, cloths. They have old everything. But they make shashlik that Boston bought absolutely the best in the world. Okay? And I filmed it. So it's coming up. Carol, Constantine and the wife, come over. We will meet up and barbecue and drink beer around that fire. Carol, thank you so much. You never know. We might one day. But you see, this is where we are so alike with you. Because this is what we would do for a good time. If someone would come over at our place, our house, okay, we would have lots of food. We call it furnish a table, okay? Furnishing table means, you know, getting all food on the table and have a feast and make a barbecue and then sit around the campfire with a beer and just, converse with each other and have a good time. That's what we do in Russia, okay? And you are telling us the same thing. You see, our values are absolutely same. And that really amazes me how countries where people are so much alike cannot be partners and friends. Dallas has really a place in my heart because of one thing. Back in 1988, when I was just a teenager, all of a sudden, out of the blue, we had a warming with the United States, and America presented us with a few days of American TV on Russian TV. Basically, they broadcasted American programs for like an evening for 6 hours or something like that. They showed us everything: commercials, uh, music videos, and they showed us this series called Dallas. Okay, and they showed us first six episodes, and I still remember that soap opera. I mean, it's like I don't know. I never watched soap operas, but then I was watching it with my like the entire Russia, the entire Soviet Union was watching it with like wide open eyes and looking like wow, just like that. I still remember the names of people like the main characters there, and I remember like how this soap opera was beginning. Because they showed us first six series, and there were like a couple reruns. So every time I hear Dallas, you know, I recall 1988 and us watching American TV, like, like they were showing us, and then the episodes would be interrupted by commercials of like Coca-Cola and Adidas, and we were like, wow, look at these guys, look how they live. This is life. That's what we were thinking back then. And then I would go to school next day, and we would be discussing at school, like, did you see that? Oh my god, that was so funny. Hockey in the desert, Loretta. Lorna, absolutely right. Sometimes the best food comes out of like not the best looking places. I call them the holes in the wall. One of the best Mexican food I ever had was in Anaheim, California. There was a hole in the world, something like Papa Pedro's on San Jose or something like that. And then the stuff there was absolutely amazing. The neighborhood was very rough. We stayed at a hotel, paid $25. It was so dirty. We barely could sleep there. And, I was afraid to take a shower. There was like a gunfight next to us. But rough neighborhood, like right next to Knott's Berry Farms. And we went to have Mexican food there, and it was so mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. So that's what I'm gonna show you in the next video. One of the next videos is somewhat like that. Places in the middle of nowhere, you know. Big buses stop there to like let people out and have lunches, and the place looks comical. you know. Anyway, I won't tell you anything. I won't spoil. So please check it out. You're gonna love it. Greasy Spoon Restaurant. Yes, exactly. Greasy Spoon Restaurant, but boy, you should have you should have tried that there Boston bot. The guy was like this tiny Armenian guy, and he's like, "Oh, are you filming for America or for England?" I said for America, and he says, "Oh, I have family in Glendale, Los Angeles." I'm like, "Hey, no wonder. Every single Russian has a family in Glendale in Los Angeles." He goes, "I'm gonna say hello," and then he starts speaking Armenian. "Hello, Glendale," something like this. And then I make really good Boston bot, and I consider myself somewhat of an expert. And then I was asking him like, "How do you do that?" He goes, "Oh, it's easy. This is like not a rocket scientist. You just take the meat and 7 minutes, and it's like magic comes from his hands. You know what I mean? Oh boy." JQ, hello from Maryland. Hello, Maryland. Hello from southern Russia. I'm in Rostov-on-Don today. Carol, party at Konstantin's house. I tell you what, every single one of you guys are invited. If you ever make it to Russia, either to Moscow or to southern Russia, Rostov-on-Don, you're invited. You can come over, stay at my house. You can eat, stay as long as you want. Please just make it here. John Westbrook, the Russians I know have values that are no longer honored by many Americans. Oh, my friend, it's really sad. I don't even want to talk about this. It really breaks my heart. Yes, JR. I remember JR, but I don't remember Ewing. JR was like the main character, and Russians didn't like him. Okay, and he was really tough, shrewd business person with feelings for money, not people. And all of a sudden, after the series, like episode 5 or 6 ended, the Russians, the media came out and said, that the most favorable, like the most loved character in this entire soap opera is JR in America. And we were like, no way, he's like the bad guy. And they're like, well, he's a good guy in America and he's bad guy to you. That was, that's pretty interesting. J.R. Westbrook from Dallas. Teresa, thank you for your email. Thank you. I haven't yet replied, but I will in near future. sick. Teresa, you're not sick with COVID, are you? Like, let us know, because I'm worried now. A question from JQ. How do Russian people feel about being blamed for every single cyber attack we have here in the USA? That's a very good question. JQ, that drives us nuts. At first, it was sort of like funny, and now we just don't understand why the Russians. Because every time something happens and the Russian hack is blamed, we immediately like feel like Russia is blamed. Okay, and it's sad. It's really sad. But Russians are very angry at that, and Russian media, of course, doesn't help. In this case, Russian media just gives the truth, but it gives a lot of truth, like like overratedly a lot of it on every corner. They just telling us from like internet, from radio, from newspapers, from TV, literally from every corner. Look what Americans saying about Russia. Look what they're thinking about Russia, and it Russians get so angry because in most cases, I think in all cases, that's useless, not useless, but that's baseless allegations. Here you go. Like to say that Donald Trump was American elections were meddled and Russian hackers helped Trump become the president. 4 years later, Donald Trump accuses the people who accused him in the past of meddling with with the American elections, and these people say, "Oh, no, 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 no! The elections are bulletproof. You cannot meddle with them. They cannot be hacked." And then 4 years prior, they were claiming very seriously that Russian hackers just meddled with American elections just like that. That angers us. That makes us really angry. JR was the villain. Oh yeah, the villain, the bad guy. Bobby was the nice brother. Well, I only watched 5 episodes back in 1988, but I clearly remember that I heard from somewhere, from some news, that Russian Soviet news that the JR was being considered like the role model for a lot of Americans. Aye, hell with it. Yvonne, hello from southern Russia. Firefly Farm, hi from southern Russia. Hello to New York. Wait, didn't I already say hi to you? Myrtle Beach, yes. Spark is run. Fake news all the time. Unfortunately, fake news is a prominent feature of our lives. And it's not just about politics, it's about everything. I have this filter that in my head that filters out fake news from real news. But a lot of people don't. Like my mom is older. She's 72 years old and she has hard time filtering out. She keeps telling me things like, and I tell her, "Mom, it's fake." And she's surprised. She says, "Well, how can they do that? How can they give us such fake news?" And I try to explain, so older people, and not as old as 70s, 60s, and perhaps 50s, but they have Soviet mentality. They cannot adopt this fake news world. And that's real tragedy. John Westbrook. That's so funny. My brother-in-law, Zoe Ivanovna, that's mother-in-law, not brother-in-law. And I had a big misunderstanding about Russian hackers. She thought that the American news had checked with me personally before the broadcast. A good one. Well, you know what, John, you are not alone because I sometimes have such misunderstandings with my mother in law, who's Russian. And I Russian, and we both speak Russian, and we both watch the same thing, and sometimes we have misunderstandings like that. So you're not alone. Operation Mockingbird. I something, something familiar. I will. Running prepper. You see, I believe that the hackers do exist. I believe they do harm, you know, to different countries and different organizations, but it's not necessarily foreign hackers. It could be like, how do you call it, sting operations. It could be CIA groups hacking something inside of the United States and blaming other countries, such as Russians, for example, you know, to achieve certain goals, like evil agenda. And it could be Russian hackers doing something sinister in Russia. For example, Russian KGB was accused again. I don't know whether it's true or not, but I heard that the Russian KGB was accused of bombing houses in the city of Moscow and in Volgodonsk and basically destroying city blocks just to blame on Chechnyan terrorists. Okay, that's a popular opinion in Russia. Things like that could happen because this special forces such as KGB, CIA, FBI, this, they're quite something else, let me tell you. JQ, we are friends then. If you believe the opposite what the government tells you, let me tell you, you're my best friend. Because I was born in Soviet Union and I was taught by my grandfather and my father who didn't like, communists very much. They taught me exactly this thing. When I grew up and become teenager, they said, if the government tells you one thing, know that exactly the opposite thing is true. Okay? Because they saying black is white and vice versa. All right. So we are on completely on the same page here. It's just really strange. I was growing up in the evil empire in Soviet Union, and you are living in the United States, and then they're using the same methods. I Teresa, I agree about the propaganda that CIA has been running. CIA is very shrewd and very smart organization, and it would be really surprising if they didn't run the show. Dallas DVDs. Okay, I will get the PO box. Uh, that's pretty cool. Oh, it's another thing I'd like to inform you. I'll let you know. More and more Russians think that the COVID-19 is a man-made virus. I have believed it basically ever since I learned the facts about this virus. But I was a minority in such opinion, and more Russians start believing it now. And a discussion in the Russian society, in Russian, media information space has been increasing about man-made virus. Alien invasion. One of the few soap operas I enjoyed back like 25, 30 years ago when I was still a young kid was a show called V. That's about the alien invasion. I love science fiction and I love stuff about the aliens and read tons of books, and I think I watched all the sci-fi movies, decent ones. And the show V blew my mind when I watched it. How this alien reptiloids who are like running people. It's pretty cool. I don't believe in reptiloids, by the way. JQ, please write us which conspiracy theories are coming true that you have. Carol, that's a very interesting topic. That's exactly what I have always thought. It's impossible that we are the only living creatures among such a huge quantity of stars and worlds and planets. It's just impossible. But you know what's even more mind blowing? I believe that physical world where we live, it's not the only world, it's not the only dimension. There are different dimensions and we're all somehow connected. Okay, but we just don't see it yet. We don't understand and we cannot explain it. Okay, I perhaps we won't even ever explain it, but I believe it's true. I don't know how everything works, but I believe there's so much more to what we know and what we can prove right now. John, you believe that KGB and CIA, you hope that they're smart enough to keep our countries from direct conflict? I talked to one of the people on the inside. It was this craziness with the war with Ukraine, possible war. I never believed there would be a war. Um, but if you remember, it was all over media that Russia is going to take over Ukraine. Russia is going to invade. Russia is on the border. It amassed so many troops, so much force. Russia is inevitably going to strike and take over Europe. These guys in Latvia, Estonia, they started, crying, "Oh, they're gonna take us over. Oh, we gotta get ready. NATO, please take us," and everything. Uh, so during about that time, I spoke to one of the people, and he said, "Listen, nothing will happen, nothing, because both people, like on both sides, they don't want war, because war is the end of everything. War is it's a huge disaster for both countries, for both like systems. You know what I mean? Because Russian system, the ones in power, they're gonna lose their power if there's a war. Though they're gonna keep the war out of Russia's way for as much as possible. And the same thing in the United States. So the rulers, they don't want war. Okay. So I totally agree with you. They are smart enough they have agenda to stay out of the war, the direct conflict. Proxy war, oh yes, like Ukraine, Russia and the United States are in proxy war. Ukraine is a proxy battleground right now, but not direct conflict. Deb Branch, thank you so much. I'm really glad that I met you guys too. Great diplomat. Hey, you want me to tell you a quick story about being a great diplomat? Uh, I was going to fly to Aruba. Aruba is well, you know where Aruba is. Right? You're most of us you're Americans, right? And I, as a Russian citizen, need a visa to Aruba. And I was flying there to meet my son and my ex-wife and my daughter. And I don't remember, something happened, but I filed for paperwork for visa. And the visa wasn't going. I think though, like my wife made a mistake. My ex-wife made a mistake in paperwork, and that the passport returned without visa, saying there's a mistake. And I only have a few days left, and I already had booked everything, flight, hotel, and so I'm sitting there and thinking that I might miss the opportunity to see like my son one more time, like in person, because I don't see him, unfortunately, in person. I don't see them often. So I'm thinking, what should I do? And I write a letter, two letters, thank you letters. One to the ambassador of Netherlands, and another one is to the president of the Netherlands and to the parliament, I think, something like that. And I tell them, oh, I called the embassy, and the not the ambassador, but like a worker at the embassy. I took the name down, written down carefully. She basically helped me out a little bit, explained what my options were. Okay, and I wrote a thank you letter to that person, directly to the ambassador and directly to the, I think, either president of the Netherlands or the Senate. And I told them what a wonderful people worked at the embassy. Like, that's real people's diplomacy, because when I needed help, they provided help and so forth. And I told them the whole situation. That's such a life, you know, such a very serious matter for me, and all the people at the Netherlands embassy were like so helpful and so trying to help me. And I got the impossible. I got a visa like in 2 days. That's about being a diplomat. Yeah, a little bit of people's diplomacy. Carol, war means complete destruction both sides. Yes, these people who rule us, they have a lot to lose. They don't want to lose it. They don't want to lose their money, their power, and they will not, they will not get to the war. They will not go as far as to get involved into direct conflict. JQ, what freaks me out is how much we are trying to play God and over-engineer our society. The Wuhan virus is just one of the many examples. China is trying to take over the world. Totally agree with you. We forget who we are. We forget, why we're here. We take too much stuff on upon ourselves, and certainly Chinese are trying to take over the world. I have a theory of Chinese. I've dealt a lot with the Chinese personally, and I've dealt a lot with Chinese companies, and I have my theory. Probably should make a video. That's not for a couple minutes discussion. Basically, the Chinese want to take revenge because they were so humiliated 200 years ago by the British. They think that the Western people came and destroyed their culture, took away their honor, okay? And now they're getting it back and they're striking back, okay? And that's pretty scary. Mammy, I liked V also. I've watched it such a long time ago, over like 25, 30 years ago. Hello from St. Petersburg. Is it St. Petersburg, Russia, or St. Petersburg, Florida? Which one? Anyway, my V, hello from southern Russia. Teresa, I also believe that the good also wins at the end. In Russia, we have a saying that Bog не фраер, God, kind of like God sees everything, and then everyone gets what they deserve at the end. Carol, China will become the big dog. It's inevitable. There are chances that China will. There are chances, and by everything that has been going on, China is getting there quickly. Paddy Bob, my friend, hello. Hello to Germany from southern Russia. My wife and her mom and her great grandmother, they're all German. So, homeboys. My wife is 1/8 German. Her mom is 1/4 German, and her mom, my wife's grandmother, is half German. Okay, she spoke perfect German. Our relatives live in Germany right now. Basically, lived there all their lives. So Germany is country very close to us. I mean, very close in our hearts. I guess it makes my son 1/16 German. Wow, over two. Has it been 2 hours? Wow, unbelievable. It's been like, 10 minutes. It feels like it's been 10 minutes. JQ, bingo. I'm Chinese, albeit raised in America. The sense of superiority and desire to get back. So, I am right. Tell me as a Chinese. Give me proof. You telling me that I'm right. Teresa, thank you so much for being here, and thanks for your support and your email. Guess what, guys? My telephone is running out of juice, and I might, the chat might end unexpectedly. If it happens, well, it happens, I'm gonna stay until it dies. You are, Lorna, you are therapy for me. You are. And believe me, I feel better. I felt so much better. My mom felt so much better when I told her how many people supported us and her and myself and prayed for my dad. And that's priceless, Thank you so much. Certainly is therapeutic. Live collab with Pinball. It's in the plans. We talk so much stuff to do, I will do my best. I will try. Yes, it'd be quite something. That's what I would like to do is to answer Pinball's questions because there's so many topics we could discuss, like a Russian view on this and a Russian's view on that. You know what I mean? And I think it would be interesting. And I have some questions for Pinball as well. I'd like to ask him. Guys, JQ, please confirm this if I'm right or not. But from dealing with the Chinese, both individuals and companies, I run into this tremendously great difference in values. Okay, that's what really concerns me. Like in Russia, when we agree on something with a person or with a company, I'm like I am representative of the company, designated by the main shareholder, the owner, to deal with, for example, a Chinese company to collaborate on the contract. And if I give my word means everything. Okay, I make a promise on behalf of my company, and then we sign a contract, and that's it. The Chinese work differently. Okay, they always look for their own advantage. And if they promise something, but then later they see there's no advantage to them, they just break the promise like it's nothing. You know what I mean? So please confirm whether it's true or not. I believe you have the answer because if you have Chinese ancestry, you must learn a lot of Chinese. And then, what am I right or am I wrong? This is the impression I've got from dealing with the Chinese. EMS paramedic, thank you so much for joining us and me today. Guys, this girl has been a great fan, and she was there, I think, from like the day one because she commented on my earlier videos, and I remember her very well. Thank you so much for your support. Hope you have a good nap. Carol, if